This is a Channel 3 News 90 Vote Special Report. Good evening, everyone. ABC News is declaring Lawton Chiles the winner in the gubernatorial race here in Florida, even before the polls closed in our part of the state. Our Mark Curtis is in our newsroom right now with some comments on this and updates on the gubernatorial races. Mark?
Well, Lance, just a cautionary note on this. As you recall, 2 years ago, the networks all predicted that Connie Mack, or rather Buddy McKay, was the new U.S. Senator from Florida. But when all the votes were counted, especially those here in West Florida, Connie Mack was the actual winner. So we'll see as the night goes on whether those projections are indeed correct. However, with 2% of the vote in at this time, Chiles is leading with 56% of the vote to Governor Martinez, 44% of the vote. Now in Alabama, another close race was expected there. With 7% of the vote in Alabama, incumbent Republican Guy Hunt leads 51% to 49% over Democratic Paul Hubbard. Lance?
All right, thank you, Mark. And again, just a caution there, these are projections, and but Chiles is being projected the winner by ABC News over Governor Martinez. Now we want to go to our Election Central at WCOA Radio with Sue Strawn and Grover Robinson. Possibly get some comment from the two of you about this situation.
All right, thanks a lot, Lance. And of course, Grover Robinson will be doing our political analysis for us throughout the evening. Grover, we have heard that Chiles has already been basically declared the winner in early projections. What does that do to voters in this part of the state when the polls are still open and people are still there voting?
Well, it's disappointing when you think that we've tried to be so objective Friday and Monday night in talking about the various races while there's still people out there voting. But what are you going to do when the news media wants to make a statement early on and the polls have been closed for an hour in eastern Florida? I don't know how we can resolve it, because unless everybody just hushes up the news, which nobody will do, I think we're just going to be stuck with that. Mark Curtis made the point. Thomas Dewey thought he had won and Buddy McKay thought he had won, so I think it's still a race.
So even with the early projections, it's not over yet?
Certainly not in a close race.
What does this signal to the voters, though, when they hear these early projections?
Well, I think 99% of the people in Escambia County have voted. The only ones who haven't are the ones who are in line. So I think that as long as they wait till after 7 o'clock, they're going to say no real harm is done. What's going to be bad is when they start reporting at 6:15, which is, 6:15 our time, 7:15 in East Florida. So I don't think there's any great harm done at 7 o'clock our time, but it could get a lot quicker the way the computers go now.
All right. And, of course, as Grover has cautioned us, it's still a long evening ahead. Lance?
All right, thank you very much, Sue, Grover, appreciate it very much. We want to again say that Mr. Chiles has been projected the winner by ABC News in the gubernatorial race over Martinez. This has been a special report on the 90 vote. We now return you to your regular programming. This is a Channel 3 News 90 Vote Special Report. Good evening, everyone. I'm Lance Sanstead. Florida apparently is going to get a new governor, and a tight race may be in the making in Florida's 1st congressional district. Mark Curtis is in our newsroom with details on both of these important races. Mark?
Lance, within the last couple of minutes, Associated Press now declared Lawton Chiles the winner, and Governor Martinez has in fact conceded that he has lost this election. With 21% of the vote counted, Chiles leads approximately 56% to 44% for Martinez. Chiles the winner, apparently. In Alabama, the governor's race there close. Governor Guy Hunt with 52% of the vote over Paul Hubbard at 48%. That's with about half the vote counted. In the congressional race here in West Florida, you can see that Earl Hutto holds a slight lead, 24,000 votes to 18,000 for Terry Ketchel. That breaks down about 55% for Hutto, 45% for Ketchel. All the cabinet races, by the way, in Florida, the incumbents are winning all of those handily, as well as all amendments are passing. Lance?
All right, Mark, thank you very much for that report. And now let's go to Sue Strawn at Election Central with local races. Sue?
All right, Lance, as had been predicted earlier in the week and the latter part of last week, some of the races in Escambia County are very close, and they continue to be so, with 64 of 95 precincts reporting in Escambia County. Let's take a look, starting with the State House District 1 race. Incumbent Tom TOBIASSEN is leading handily there with 65% of the vote to Andy Peterson's 35%. State House District 2, incumbent Buzz Ritchie, again maintaining a sizable lead with 69% of the vote. One race that was predicted to be close, and it is just that, the State House District 3 race, where Republican incumbent Tom Banjonen faces Democratic challenger Lois Benson. Right now, Banjonen has a slight lead with 51% of the vote. Again, that's 64 of 95 precincts in Escambia County reporting in. In the County Commission District 2 race, the incumbent Democrat Ken KELSON maintains a 51% lead over challenger Buck Lee. County Commission District 4, Muriel Wagner, the incumbent, having some trouble there. Steve Delgallo, the challenger, has 61% of the vote. School Board District 1, Jim Bailey and Tom Welcher in a dead heat. Bailey is the incumbent in that race. School Board District 2, Barbara Morris, the incumbent there, is maintaining a handy lead with 56% of the vote. And in the ECUA District 2 race, Billy Tennant, the incumbent, has 60% of the vote. Now, to the Perdido Soil and Water District 4 race, it appears that incumbent George White will maintain his seat. Right now, he has 54% of the vote. One county court judge race, Group 4. Again, this has been a rather heated race. David Ackerman is right now leading with 59% of the vote. Julian Harris has 41%. That is how things are shaping up, and it looks like it will indeed come down to the wire on a number of the races in Escambia County. Lance?
All right, Sue, now let's go quickly to Bob Henderson, who's standing by in Santa Rosa County. Bob? All right. We do not have Bob Henderson right now. We do now have Bob Henderson. All right, Bob, can you tell us what's going on over there?
Yeah, Lance, I have an update for you on 4 local races. First, in the County Commission District 2 race, John Howe right now has 38% of the vote. Bird Maples, a Democrat, taking a lead so far with 61%. Moving on to the County Commissioner District 4 race, Republican Ira Mae Hewitt has 41%. Incumbent Leonard Barnes moving ahead with 59% of the vote. In the School Board District 1 race, incumbent Ken Smith maintaining a 62% lead over challenger Hugh Winkles with 37%. And in the School Board District 3 race, incumbent Carol McDANIEL 57% lead over challenger John Creel. And Lance, we still don't have any results yet from Gulf Breeze on the elections for City Council and Mayor. We'll get them later.
All right, Bob, thank you very much. It's been a special report, the 90 vote. Stay tuned to Channel 3 News for later updates. Chiles and Martinez. It's sitting right now about a 56-44% margin for Chiles over incumbent Bob Martinez. However, it is a close race right now in the 1st Congressional District, as Mark Curtis is in our newsroom with details about that race. Mark?
Lance, this is the closest race Congressman Earl Hutto has ever had, with about 65% of the vote in now. Hutto is leading 53% to Republican challenger Terry Ketchel's 47%. Still a close race there. All 4 Florida amendments on the statewide ballot, they are all passing at this time, all by landslide margins. All incumbent cabinet members are winning. The only other cabinet race, that for Agriculture Commissioner Bob Crawford, the Democrat, leading on that side. And in the Alabama governor's race, Republican Guy Hunt, the incumbent, with a slight lead. He's been winning about 52% to 48% in that race all night long. Lance?
All right, Mark, thank you very much. Let's check in with Sue Strawn now, who is at Election Central at WCOA, with Grover Robinson, who is... All
right, thanks a lot, Lance. Now, Grover, you have not publicly really given us your predictions prior to this point, but have any of the races surprised you, especially in the governor's races in Alabama and in Florida?
Well, earlier before we went on the air, we said I felt like the Chiles would win. I don't think I thought he'd win that big. It's very difficult for somebody to come back after they've been out of office, but Chiles proved it against Bill Nelson. He proved it in spades against Bob Martinez. So Lawton Chiles is just extremely popular, and you can come back, and he came back very strong.
All right, let's take a look now at some of the other State House races and also local races in Escambia County. Starting with the State House District 1 race, it appears that, of course, incumbent Tom TOBIASSEN, who has been in the House, I believe, for 22 years now, will maintain his seat. In the House District 2 race, Buzz Ritchie, the incumbent there, Democrat, also will retain his seat. The State House District 3 race, Tom Banjanin, the Republican incumbent, is leading by a slight margin, and absentee ballots could very well play a big part in this.
That's true. I think we talked earlier. I really felt like Lois Benson was a little bit ahead last week, and then a lot of people talked about those flyers that came out from Tallahassee. May have hurt her in the end because it's tough to campaign from Central Florida in a Northwest Florida district, and I think that may have been the margin a defeat or victory in this case.
Okay, but when the absentee ballots are in and counted, you still think Benjamin will maintain the lead?
My gut feeling is that they'll tend to be Republican. I don't think that she can make up that big a lead, 600 votes. But the people who like Benson were very strongly for her, and those people tend to vote. But you know, traditionally Republicans, because more of them are out of the country and all, seem to vote, or out of town, or in the service, whatever. They tend to be Republican.
All right, let's take a look now at some of the county races, starting with County Commission District 2. Ken Kelson, here again by a narrow margin, maintains his seat on the County Commission. Absentee ballots may very well play a part there. County Commission District 4, the incumbent Muriel Wagner appears will not be maintaining her seat. School Board District 1, Jim Bailey, again a relatively close race with the Republican Claude Welch. School Board District 2, Amelia Asmar, Barbara Morris, the incumbent, looks like she will be going back in. ECUA District 2, the incumbent Billy Tennant holds on to his seat. County Court Judge, now this seat was vacated by Ken Williams, and it looks like David Ackerman will take that seat. Perdido Soil and Water, George White, the incumbent, goes back in there. And that's about all the time we have for right now. We'll be back at 10 o'clock with a further look. Lance?
All right, thank you, Sue. And Bob Henderson is standing by now in Milton at the Supervisor of Elections office. Bob?
So far tonight, Lance, things look pretty good in Santa Rosa County. If you're an incumbent in the County Commissioner District 2 race, no incumbent there. Democratic Bird Maples and John Howell, 63% for Maples, 37% to Howell. District 4 Commissioner race, it's 58% with incumbent Leonard Barnes, 41% for Ira Mae Hewitt. School Board, District 1, incumbent Ken Smith with 61%, 39% for Hugh Winkles. School Board, District 3, it's 53% for incumbent Carol McDANIEL, 47% for challenger John Creel. Again, we don't have any word yet from the Gulf Breeze races.
All right, thank you very much, Bob. And now we're going to do Okaloosa County. Take a look real quickly there at some results from there. Mr. Hardin is leading with 63% of the vote in his race. Peebles 55%, Cook 51%. Getting ahead of myself here. And then the long race is 55%, and the referendum there is going down to defeat apparently. This has been a Channel 3 News special report on the 90 vote. We now rejoin ABC News, and we'll see you at 10.